the thing with the
thing with the thing.
Hello and welcome to Superconnectivity. I am your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is the man with the true knowledge, the true wisdom, the true grit.
That's fake news.
He has both his eyes.
Phil Perich.
Hey, Phil, yes. See, that's a reference to True Grit, where, of course, John Wayne, in the only really real True Grit, there's another one that they did later with, I believe, the villain from Iron Man. But John Wayne only has one eye because, you know, he is representative of Odin, who has traded his eye for wisdom.
I get you, Pilgrim.
Yes. So, man, and speaking of Odin, we got 2 books this week, each of which takes place in Asgard. Each of which makes some interesting stories to tell. Of course, talking about Doctor Strange and Thor. Phil, which would you like to talk about first?
I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me because they're both really good.
Yeah.
You want to start with Doctor Strange?
Yeah, let's start with Doctor Strange because I think there's an interesting point to be made here that might get overlooked easily by the fanboys who just love superheroes.
I just came for the Sentry.
Well, no, I came for the Sentry. Sentry isn't for fanboys who like superheroes. Sentry is for you kids who like to think.
Oh.
Sentry is for those kids who grew up on Marvel Age. Anyway, so here's the thing about Doctor Strange, because actually, honestly, the Sentry's existence in it is kind of secondary to me.
Mm-hmm.
What really fascinates me is this entire issue with the World Tree. You know, where we open the story up, we open up at the legendary Wizards battle. You know, that Loki is observer. He's not actually participating. And you know, that's the Vishanti, correct? The Vishanti, yes. The one who yes. And you know, basically, Strange wins as he always does, and it's kind of a weird thing in this because they make this statement that the Vishanti hold this once every century or so. I've been to 3. So, well, clearly it's a little bit more than once a century recently. And maybe that should have been Strange's first sign that, you know, something's wrong, you know?
Well, I think it used to be once a century, but in this issue, he says once every few decades. But it's like, well, then how long have you been Doctor Strange if it's every few decades?
Well, there is some canonical idea that he actually has been Doctor Strange since the 1920s. There actually is this idea that basically the reason he's been around so long is just because he has, you know, the whole slowed aging process of being a magic fuse.
Well, yeah, it should be. That would be interesting if, like, they did that for, you know, every time, you know, someone was Sorcerer Supreme, their aging slowed down, but they never really play that up in the comics, yeah. I don't think.
Well, not for nothing. How long was the Ancient One around?
Yeah, well, he had to live up to that name.
Yeah, well, yeah, but truth be told, you know, the whole thing is, you know, the Ancient One's been around for a while. But I kind of get this feeling when I'm reading it that I'm like, kind of held this title for like decades upon decades upon decades upon centuries. And then as soon as Stephen Strange becomes becomes the Sorcerer Supreme, I think we need to hold another one. Let's just make sure this is the right guy. And you know, Doctor Strange wins again, but then as every football fan dreams, the game, they say, hey, that guy in the third row, let's make him the winner. And that's what it essentially happens to Loki. You know, he's like, what the what now?
Yeah.
To this basic point, the Vishanti are the freaking Vishanti. They are gods, if you will, and like gods above gods. So they're like the gods that, like that basic level Odin, Zeus gods. They're like that next level god. And then there's like the one above them, you know, which is kind of like Satan in the demonic world. That that everyone knows they're there, but no one ever actually meets.
They're like those middle class gods. They're not like that trailer park gods. Like Odin.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Definitely trailer park gods. The Borson brothers.
We'll get there this issue. Yeah, but
yes.
But who does Stephen Strange go to living in the suburbs to get a spell to get him into Asgard?
Wang. I love that.
Yeah.
Wong. Sorry, Wong. Not Wang. That was different. That was different character. That was in. Which I'm surprised does not exist yet. Are you surprised that film? I for one, am very surprised that not Doctor Strange has not been made yet.
I don't know. Are you sure? Did you dig enough down in the internet? I don't know.
You know, I don't do as much digging there as I used to. So, but usually the fan sites will say, "Hey, we would never watch this."
I know. I haven't
seen the new comic book porn out.
I haven't seen it on CBR. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they're pretty much a go-to for that question.
Yeah.
And not to think about CBR, they all do it. You know, they're all very much of that view. But Ghost gets Wong, and in this episode, in this story, is very much basically the Vishanti being, you know what, Strange, you're not as good as you think you are. We really need someone a little bit more. And he kind of makes their own point when he goes to Yggdrasil, the World Tree.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Asgardians have more magic than anyone, than you know what to do with, because they have a World Tree.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, and this is kind of what the Vishanti's point is. It's like, dude, you lost all the magic, have caused more problems than you've probably solved. We want to make Loki the Sorcerer Supreme because you know what? We think a guy like Loki, who actually has a Yggdrasil to freaking reach out to, might be a better choice.
But do you think it's completely the Vishanti's idea, or do you think Loki's pulling another con? Because I mean, Loki just happens to be hanging around, and they're like, "You in the corner, you want to be Sorcerer Supreme," and then Loki's like, "Who, me?"
Do you really think that Loki has enough power to pull a fast one on the Vishanti?
I don't know, but I
mean, that's going to really downgrade the Vishanti.
I mean, unless not so much a trick as he dug up some dirt on Strange and be like, look, you know, they'll be like, you know, 2 days before he's telling the Vishanti, look at the state he's left magic in. You need to give it to someone else, you know.
Yeah, but not for nothing. It's not like you have to dig up dirt on Strange.
No.
You know, he's no Dr. Voodoo.
No, he's like the Lindsay Lohan. All you do is turn on your computer, and there it is.
I have no idea what Lindsay Lohan is up to at the moment. I hope she's doing it. I liked her when I was younger, you know, and when I say younger, I mean my 30s, which is sad. But you know, as a young Disney princess coming in, it's like, oh, that's that little kid. Shows and whatnot. She's in movies now. God bless her. You know, grandfatherly adoration. There's nothing weird there. I see where your mind goes with these things, Phil. It's really disturbing sometimes.
No, you're calling yourself grandfather already. Jeez.
for nothing, I am like the only non-grandparent in my family, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, like, gee, I didn't have kids till I was like in my 30s, so you know.
I was gonna say the age of your kids would be weird if you were grandfather.
Very weird. Yeah, I think I'm good on that. You know,
Yeah.
Tristan may go for the finish line early, but I think Ben's okay. Tristan's a charmer. That's his thing.
Oh, baby, you like Venom? No, me too.
Yeah, you know how it goes. Kids today with their comical books. But so, and it's a very interesting question about magic, because of course when Strange goes to the World Tree, because of course, you know, Strange goes to bargain with Odin, because Odin, I have come to bargain. And then it's Cole, and it's like, oh, I don't know how to bargain with this dude, and he seems like the Donald Trump of Asgard, without a doubt. Hey, good for you, Marvel, anticipating a Donald Trumpian figure like years before he actually wound up there. You know, it's interesting when you think about it. It's like, wow, man, I gotta say the writers at Marvel really do anticipate societal trends in a very neat way.
Or is our president just a cliche?
Well, I mean, he is a cliche. I mean, he's just, yeah. I mean, you could do Cole Borson. Here's what I'll say: if you do Cole Borson when you know, W was president, Borson is burlesque. Now Borson is simply satire, and that's sad. Is the exaggeration of qualities for humorous effect. The repetition of realities, repetition of qualities for humorous effect. Or you actually use the actual ideas, thoughts, and words of a character against them in burlesque. You take them to a logical extreme to create the comedy. And what was once burlesque is now satire. And that is a scary place to be. Magic. So when Strange petitions Yggdrasil, you know, it says it needs something from him, and he gives him the dog, which was already dead. And it's an interesting statement about that loss. That loss to be in the moment. It's saying, I lost this thing. This is the rabbit I drowned, as Monaco would say. This is the cost. Because, of course, as Monaco says, when he first makes the statement about the cost of magic in Fantastic Four, it's not what you do, it's that you're giving a bit of your soul. You're saying, here is the sorrow, here is the pain that I have that I'm going to give to you. You know? And of course, what Doctor Strange was always doing was, with the whole Mr. Misery, was into a sentient being, which was not cool, but you know. And then Wong had his army of people to just take the pain of Doctor Strange. These people, you know, honestly, these guys with their conspiracies. He maybe is the best Sorcerer Supreme because he's upfront with everybody about what he's doing. Because the best liars always tell the truth. Always remember that about being a really good liar is you have to tell the truth.
Oh yeah, the best lies have at least part of the truth in it. Yeah.
Well, it's not even a part of the truth. It's the truth. It's not what you don't lie.
It's how you twist it.
You say what is true, and don't say something else. You leave out the lie of omission is the greatest possible lie because it is fully true, and that is what Loki is. That is what Loki does. That because he is the god of stories, as he says. And so when he tells a lie, it is a truth. It is really a truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different kind of truth. Ah, so that's that. So, but of course, when gives the dog to the tree gives him that Odin force. Bow, wow, 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 wow.
Well, isn't it interesting that he's holding up a branch, and I'm sure it's just coincidence, but isn't it funny that it looks like the cane Don Blake used to carry?
Oh, I totally missed that, and that is awesome.
Uh-huh.
Oh, is that where that cane comes from? Whatever happened to Don Blake's cane?
Well, it wasn't the Thor's hammer, it just changed form, but
yeah, it changed form. So it went back to Jägerstrill. One imagines, but yes, but now he has that cane. And for what it's worth, what Jägerstrill is Jägerstrill is Gaia. And this is this interesting question about Marvel Comics that to have this very interesting, deep, complex mythos, or did they just wind up with it? Is it secondary nerdery that points out the fact that Gaia is the life force of the entire universe, not just Earth? Is Gaia, and Gaia is the mother of Thor, and all of these things. So in that sense, what's important to always remember about Thor is that he is actually a second generation god.
Mm-hmm.
He is born of one of the first three gods, which is Gaia, Chthon, and Set, which is life, death, and magic. Place between life and death. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, I'm really annoyed at metal. Because they totally...
You're annoyed at what?
Games.
Hold on, you're cutting out. What are you...
I don't know. No, I don't know, because I was reading what the whole metal mythos is.
Dark
and I said, wait a minute, Dark Knight's metal. And it's like, oh, that's the Weaver, the Worm, and the Wild from White Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe White Wolf stole it from somewhere before them. But it's like, dude, that is so a story that's been told 800 times. I mean, really. It's like, oh, and then and it is literally what the Weaver, the Worm, and the Wild was. Because the worm was supposed to maintain the balance by devouring, because you had the Weaver and the Wild, and the worm is what maintained the balance, because the worm would eat back what was created, and then and then the dragon, the worm, eats the guy who makes stuff, and it's like, yeah, I know. I like this the first time I played the game when it was called Werewolf the Apocalypse.
But I mean, that's DC's whole problem.
Still White Wolf's best game, better than Vampire. I'll say it.
But DC, okay, Lilith. Okay, but DC's whole problem is they've done so many reboots back in the day. Like every couple of years now, they're trying to tie everything together.
Yeah, but isn't that 100% DC's entire problem?
Well, yeah.
Like, oh, we got to reboot Batman. We have to reboot all these things because we're afraid. Because we don't want to make a product that fails.
Well, I think they got sick of the rap that they reboot every 10 to 20 years. So after New 52, they're like, when they did Rebirth, they're like, it's not a reboot. We're kind of just smoothing out the rough edges and bringing stuff back you like, but we're not rebooting. We're never rebooting again.
Yeah. And you know what Marvel does? Marvel just freaking rebooted everything.
Just slide some time.
Yeah, but they don't know that they got rebooted.
Yeah.
That's Marvel, which is so brilliant. It's like, yeah, we rebooted it, but they don't know. Don't worry, they're the characters. They don't know. The characters think everything was fine.
Just slide some time.
Yeah. And speaking of sliding time, let's talk about Marvel 2-in-1. Unless you have something else to say about Doctor Strange.
No, I'm very eager to hear your thoughts on Marvel 2-in-1.
Oh, I mean, honestly, man, I mean, maybe it's just because I don't get enough sleep lately, but man, I am crying lately when I'm reading Marvel comics. They're just so powerful, so good. I mean, I cried when Doctor Strange gave the dog the issue. Was a good boy, and it's like, oh,
it's better than crying at DC Comics, which is like a whole different problem. It sucks.
Well, yeah. Although I missed Teen Titans Go this week. Although I got my nasty letter. Actually, it was a Facebook instant message from my comic book store today. Comic books here, Charlie. You gonna pick these up? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna come this weekend, man. I promise. And, I'm gonna tell them just to stop pulling for me till I can buy them all back because I'm just so in debt to them, But money, capitalism is hard if you want to read comic books. It's really great if you want to write comic books. Although for everyone who writes comic books, it seems like no, it's not. Honestly, I don't see who is actually having fun in the whole capitalistic structure of comic books.
Yeah, I know, because I mean, when they announced Marvel canceling a bunch of books, including David Walker's Luke Cage.
I know.
Hawkeye.
But you heard what Brevoort said.
What?
He said books get canceled, man. X-Men got canceled. Iron Man got canceled. Said, the only book that never got canceled was Fantastic Four, and that just got canceled.
Spider-Man never got canceled, did it?
Did Amazing get canceled at some point?
Probably they become Superior, but I mean, it's not like it went out of print. Like Spider-Man went out of print. Yeah.
Oh no, but that's the thing is that it got switched to something else because Amazing Fantasy is what he came from, but that got canceled.
Yeah.
By the way, did you read Strange? I'm sure you read Strange Tales this week.
Strange Tales?
Oh, sorry, Tales from Suspense. Tales of Suspense.
Yes, yeah, 100. Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, that was a good book. Hawkeye and Winter Soldier.
Buddy.
Trying to find Black
Buddy
Widow.
comedy.
I'm excited by it. I really liked that book. That was very nice. Not as good as the other books that I've read so far because there's a lot of good books. I mean, Avengers was great this week.
Oh, Uncanny Avengers?
Oh, Uncanny Avengers. Oh, that was so good. Black Widow. Not Black Widow. Man, I cannot think. Scarlet Witch. And honestly, now I want Scarlet Witch and Dr. Voodoo in the next Doctor Strange film. Because it's like, you got them both, kids. You got them. Put them in there. Or let's have the Dr. Voodoo movie with, could you imagine that? Because you set it, so here's how you do it. You set it just after, was it Daniel Drum or Jacob Drum? Jacob Drum dies. Because he dies in Doctor Strange. And you have Daniel Drum coming to claim his brother's body. And then you have, Benedict Cabbage Patch come in and sorry about your loss for your brother, yada, yada, yada. And it says he was a strange man. He believed in all these crazy things. He's like, yeah, I know. Says, and he goes, oh, Dr. Strange, I am actually a medicine man, or science doctor myself. And then you start the story of Dr. Voodoo, and then you bring in Scarlet Witch as this person with him. And then you have, and honestly, Dr. Voodoo and Scarlet Witch, that's a book I want to read.
But hey, MCU, you could have your Justice League Dark before DC. Get Doctor Strange, Dr. Voodoo, Scarlet Witch.
No, just do Voodoo, Strange, Man-Thing, and Ghost Rider. And Blade. That's a much better Justice League Dark than anything. Honestly, because you got your Superman and Wonder Woman in Voodoo and Witch. You have your Hulk in
Man-Thing.
Man-Thing. You have your Flash in Ghost Rider, and you have your Batman in Blade. There you go. Midnight Suns.
That's right.
Make it happen, Marvel. We're tired of giving you all these brilliant ideas that you just don't use.
No.
Come on, you just bought Fox. Don't you have like an extra $100 million lying around to make another film just to make me and Phil happy?
Oh no, you didn't.
Yeah. Oh, they bought Fox? Well, they're trying to buy Fox.
Yeah.
We'll see how the current administration feels about it. Normally, they're totally cool with people buying stuff unless you are critical of them. But ABC isn't critical of Donald Trump to the level that NBC is.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was Viacom, I think they'd be in trouble. But I think ABC, because of course because ABC is because Disney is all about strategy and long-term thinking. And their statement is, look, if we go and we start attacking Trump constantly, we're going to have problems expanding and eventually taking over the world. And we can certainly do criticisms of politicians through pastiche, but that could be any politician. As I've always said, the HydroCap story comes into a much more interesting place if Hillary Clinton gets elected.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it is exactly the story of the person you thought you could trust who is actually the monster.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, and it feeds right into that alt-right, right-wing fantasy about the Clintons and their pizza gates,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that you can tell that story in any situation. It's just that people always assume that what gets written is about what's happening right now, and often it is not. As I think what I would say was what I think would be the actual story of it. Is like, actually, we just wrote that. That has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on right now. I mean, you feed into it because you take what's in the news and you put it in your story. But I think that HydroCap was just as likely under a Clinton presidency as a Trump presidency, or even another Obama presidency if we didn't have term limits.
Mm-hmm. But
anyway.
But
yes,
loop back around to some of these comics. All right, Marvel 2 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was great. Of course, you got a Spider-Man appearance because Chip Zdarsky's writing this. He's writing Spectacular Spider-Man right now. But
he doesn't. Oh, does he like Spider-Man?
Who? Chip Zdarsky?
Yeah, because he was unmercifully mean to Spider-Man throughout the Howard the Duck run.
I don't know, but he's writing Spectacular Spider-Man. Supposedly, he was thrilled about it. So.
Yeah, well, maybe he likes Spider-Man, but he also ironically likes Spider-Man. I don't know.
He's beating his wife. Okay, let's put it like that.
I'm sorry, what now?
He's beating his wife. He loves Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah, that's not. I don't know where that turned from. That must be a Pittsburgh thing, Phil. I don't know. We don't use beating your wife as a euphemism in this part of the country. I don't know, man.
Come on, you have phrases in Jersey. I know you do.
I'm sure we have lots of phrases in Jersey. We say forget about it, and bada bing, bada boom.
All right. Anyway,
situation pointing at our abdominal muscles, which are all taut and impressive here in Jersey.
So anyway, the whole thing in Marvel 2 and 1 with Doom giving Ben the the message from Reed and that whole device. Mm-hmm. It's just.
And do you know what I loved about that? Because it just was 100% Dr. Doom, just classic old school Dr. Doom. This is the Doom that Gwenpool wanted to fight.
No?
And even though he's in the armor, he's like, for nothing is it was my right as Doom to take the device. And it's like, this is why no one believes you're not a superhero, Doom.
But it's doing me no good, and I'm trying to be a nice guy, so here.
And not for nothing, isn't that 100% the thing?
Mm-hmm.
That he went to take it, and he couldn't unlock it. Because, of course, Reed is smarter than Doom.
But is there a part of Doom that wants them to find Reed and Sue just so he can be like, so I can match wits with Richards again?
I have no idea. I actually think Doom just, Doom.
He's bored.
Let me ask you a question. Did Infamous Iron Man come out before the whole Lex Luthor Superman came out?
No. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, either way, truth be told, they're actually both stolen from. It wasn't an IDW. I think it was a Dark Horse book, which was, and I want to say, was it something Edison? But I think it was called Edison Steel or something. And the basic idea was that the Lex Luthor of a pastiche universe kills his Superman, but then he has to be Superman. But then he realized, oh man, being Superman is a lot of work.
Yeah.
He did it for his own self-aggrandizement, but then realized, oh man, I actually kind of had to follow through with this stuff, don't I? So it's really, I mean, it's all really kind of a stolen concept at its core, but that's okay, it works. But yeah, so basically, an indie comic did it first, and then Marvel stole it, and then DC stole it from Marvel. Because that's the circle of ideas in the comic book universe. It's an indie does it, and then Marvel does it, and then DC does it. Because of course indies were deconstructing superheroes long before Squadron Supreme came out, and then Alan Moore decided to crib that from Marvel and make his Watchmen. Because Alan Moore has never had an original idea in his life.
Yeah, Charlie Esser.
Hasn't. Can you name an original character he created? Can you name one that isn't either a pastiche or based off another fictional character?
No, but
just saying. And before you say Tom Strong, that's just what's his name? Not Doc Samson. Who is that guy? Not Alan Quatermain. He was the pulp novelist, the Bronze God.
Doc Savage?
Doc Savage. Tom Strong is just Doc Savage. Because Alan Moore has never had an original idea in his life. Alan Moore couldn't come up with a Spider-Man. He couldn't come up with a Fantastic Four. He couldn't come up with a Speedball. Because he's not going to think, what is a new idea? He's going to say, what is all the things that I've always seen, and how can I redo them in a way? How can I write fanfic for the stuff I like? That's Alan Moore. And he's made a good career out of fanfic. But you know what? So did the lady that wrote 50 Shades of Grey.
Mm-hmm.
So did, was it not J.D. Salinger? J.K. Rowling. Basically all fanfic. These, that's what the millennials like. The millennials like fanfic. What can you say? If you're a fanfic writer, this is the age for the fanfic writer, because nobody wants a new idea. They want to get something that's retread, but that's just different enough that they can say it's theirs. And that's why Alan Moore is so popular. So, but yeah, so the Doom in Marvel 2-in-1 was perfect.
Oh yeah,
it was just the best Doom ever. It's the Doom we've been missing, and the Doom we've been wanting. I was a little down to see, Johnny so freaking on the edge.
And
it makes a weird moment between Uncanny Avengers and this.
I know, and Uncanny, he's like, hey guys, I bought the mansion back. It's the Avengers again. It's all one big happy family. Yeah, then here it's like, I want to die.
Yeah, or even I don't even know what he wants. That's the thing. It's like, do you want to die? Because not for nothing, he's already been dead.
Yeah, I think that's why
powers are leaving me.
I think that's why they had Spider-Man throw in the line that it's like, because he's been in Spectacular Spider-Man 2 and he hasn't seemed depressed, and I think that's why Zdarsky had Spider-Man throw in the line. When everyone's looking, he tries to keep up a face, but when he doesn't think anyone's looking, he's
I don't want to say introspective because it's still
racing cars in the walls.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did like actually, what was interesting to me, because when I was reading that, and they're like, "Oh, his engine's overheating," I was waiting for him to use his powers to make his engine not overheat. But he doesn't, because that would be cheating.
Or was he overheating it?
No, I think the car. No, you run an engine that fast, it's going to overheat. He's in last place at the start of the scene, and he's moving to first. He's burning that engine. He's nitro burning, man, or something. And yeah, but he could have siphoned the heat off into himself, which is his superpower. But he doesn't do that because that would be cheating. You know, so here for Johnny Storm. And what I loved about that, because that actually reminds me of like one of my first, like one of the first Fantastic Four comics I bought was when Johnny Storm was racing cars and he gets into this accident and gets burned up. And that was one where Ben and Johnny and the Mole Man fight like a Walt Disney pastiche. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, but that was Marvel 2-in-1. I really liked it. I'm really excited about where it's going.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be a good book. And then we have what else do we have? Well, we mentioned Uncanny Avengers. We mentioned Sentry almost plays no role in Doctor Strange. Although again, like I say,
just a weapon.
In Doctor Well, yeah. Well, what it is, it's clearly Doctor Strange doesn't know what Doctor Strange is clearly playing every bad trope of Doctor Strange, of being petty, being vindictive, of no, I know I am the Doctor Strange, He has no humility, the Doctor Strange. And that's the problem. And I think that's what the Vishanti were trying to tell him in this whole thing. That he could have accepted, and not for nothing. Here's what I'll say about this whole thing. Dr. Voodoo isn't the Sorcerer Supreme at the moment. He's still being a great superhero, fighting superheroic things and battling demons and all this nonsense. Okay? Because Dr. Voodoo knows I don't need to be the Sorcerer Supreme just to fight evil. I can just fight evil because there's evil. And I should fight that. But Doctor Strange is like, you say I'm not the best anymore? And he's still in that mindset he was when he was the surgeon of, I have to be the best. And I can't stand someone might be just a hair's breadth better than me. And this is why the Vishanti took it away. Because they're like, you know what, dude? I don't think you're ready for this. And so they kicked him to the side. Now I think Loki's going to be a great Sorcerer Supreme. And fingers crossed, Dr. Voodoo gets the mantle back at the end of all of it. If someone says, and what I think will be great, and they'll do that for like a year, and then Doctor Strange will do his penance, and then he'll come back and Dr. Voodoo will be like, yeah, fine, man, I don't care. I'm going to go fight more demons. It's like, what? Yeah, it's like this meaningless title. It's great to have it. It's great to be the guy who is supposed to be the front line. It's great to have that acknowledgement. But quite frankly, when the battle with Dormammu comes, I'm there. I don't know if it's because whether I'm the Sorcerer Supreme or I'm just Dr. Voodoo, I'm there.
When you're the Sorcerer Supreme, all is basically a title. You get the house, and then everyone with a magic problem knows where to come to find you and be like, "Help me!"
Well, exactly, yeah. It's why Dr. Magico. What is it? Senior Magico from the.
Yeah. Power Man.
It's why he doesn't want the title. It's too much work. It's like the Detroit Tigers. As I always say, the Detroit Tigers, they only need to beat the team that's going to win the World Series. They don't need to win because every year the Yankees win the World Series, they have a losing record to the Tigers. Because the Tigers say the Yankees are going to win this year, so we're just going to beat them. And then we don't got to put in all that overtime. Well, you think I want to be freaking playing baseball in October? I want to go trick-or-treating with my kids. I want to go to the club. I want to relax.
163 games, fat.
Yeah, really. It's like, it's like, okay, we beat those guys. They're gonna win. So when they win, we already beat them. Like we wiped the floor with them every time they came here. So we're good. Yeah, you guys go on and win. You guys do the extra. You guys do the overtime. That's fine. You have the overtime. we're cool because they're in Detroit, man. And in Detroit, you don't put in the overtime unless you need the overtime. And if you can balance your budget, you don't need the overtime.
All right, before we run out of time, I know you wanted to get to the Teen Titans Go movie summary.
Oh, so Teen Titans Go movie just came out, or just the plot got dropped. I'm so excited about the Teen Titans Go movie. Teen Titans, the best incarnation of the Titans yet. So far. No, that live action is going to be horrible. Okay.
Fight me, Lilith.
No, okay. Did you see the picture of Robin they did? Did you see their Robin? You're going to tell me that fancy-haired, brooding Robin is the Robin you want?
Dick Grayson is a pretty man.
He's a pretty man. I'm not saying Dick Grayson isn't beautiful, but Dick Grayson
and he's an average height for a man his age.
Yes. What I'm going to tell you about Dick Grayson is he grew up in a circus, and then he went to live with a billionaire. Yes, his parents are dead, and that's very tragic. Well, but do you think that Dick Grayson sits every moment like some Bruce Wayne in a tower? Like, oh, my parents are dead. Oh, and that gorilla stole my banana. Oh.
I mean, they better not have him too broody, because I mean, he's not like Bruce Wayne broody. So yeah,
I know exactly. That's my point. But you saw that picture, and aside from the hyper metallic orange breastplate, which again just screams Batman and Robin the movie. It's like DC. Not everybody needs body armor.
Yeah, especially Flash.
Anyone that can move quickly.
Armor doesn't scream super speed to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just like you don't always need body armor. For what it's worth, as people will say about whenever they put the ladies in the chainmail bikinis, it's like, well, for a lighter warrior, you want that freedom of movement. Mm-hmm. The truth of it is, you do want that freedom of movement. The way you have freedom of movement is with leather armor. You have stuff that just moves a little better.
I think the movie companies are all afraid that spandex is going to look stupid on screen. So they're like, what?
Of course, it's going to look stupid on screen, but superheroes look stupid, and you have to.
I know. So they're just like, I know, give them body armor.
No, you know what? And you know what? Not for nothing. I don't think that's true. Because look at TV Flash. It's a freaking latex suit and it's great on him, but still, it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's not a point of that you think, oh, that doesn't look like Flash. The body armor. It's like when they go to the mirror universe of Star Trek, and everyone's like all, battle hardened, or like the one where the Borg were dominating. And like Picard has an eye patch. It's just. It's too much effort to be cool, is what I say.
You're right. Do the CW thing, make it look leathery, but not, not bulky armor, and just say, that's like Kevlar or whatever.
And like I've always said, the whole thing about Dick Grayson is he is like the one character that really makes sense to be dressed like that. Because he's wearing the Flying Graysons.
Yeah, he's wearing bright colors.
But the idea is that the Flying Graysons wore that outfit. I think that's been like retconned and made the thing. But whenever they do the Flying Graysons, they're in the orange and green with the capes, because it looks like a circus performer's outfit.
Plus, I think you can explain it in a way like, I wear the bright colors so the guys are shooting at me and not innocent bystanders.
Yeah. Or as Plucky Duck once said, decoy the boy hostage.
Yes.
Okay, and but the plot of Teen Titans Go, the movie, it's basically stolen from an old Fantastic Four comic.
They want their own movie. They want their own movie. Yeah,
they want their own movie, and then the supervillain makes them in the movie, and then the supervillain is like It was a Fantastic Four comic. It was an episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. And now DC is getting around to finally stealing the idea from Marvel. So, but I think the Teen Titans Go movie will be fantastic. I can't wait to see it as soon as it opens with my kids. I'm going to try and see Last Jedi this Christmas break with my kids. Because Tristan really wants to see Last Jedi.
That's good. It's good. You'll like it.
Yeah, they weren't asking to see Justice League. And I'll leave that where it is, you know.
But did you see who's in the who's I guess doing voices in the Teen Titans Go movie? Will Arnett and Kristen Bell.
Oh, is Will Arnett playing Batman?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering because yeah, he's Lego Batman. So
I gotta assume he is because they do make the point in the plot point that Robin doesn't want to just be seen as a sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And who does Kristen Bell play?
I don't think they said yet.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Maybe she's the villain.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe she's Poison Ivy, or maybe she's...
Or maybe just like a studio executive or something.
No greater villain. Oh, you know who they should have as the villain? What was the dwarf girl character from the Batman the Animated Series, who was the little baby?
Oh, baby doll or whatever.
Baby doll, yeah. And she'd be like, yes, I did that. Now I'm a studio executive. But you find out that she's actually like an insane supervillain.
Or they'll just go nuts and Kristen Bell will play Kristen Bell.
Ah, that could be it. They cast her as Raven. And that's going to be funny because they're going to see who they cast as all the other actors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. CBR had a thing about DC not knowing what to do with Cyborg recently, and I said, yep, I know. Okay.
Well, I mean, in the comics, ever since New 52, they kind of they took away his legacy. He was always in the Titans, and then New 52, they're like, oh, he's in the Justice League. He's always been in the Justice League. What's like, well, you just rip them away from all his friends and all his relationships he had, and it's just like.
Wouldn't it have been easier just to say that John Stewart was the first Green Lantern?
Exactly. That's what me and Lilith keep saying. Yeah, just
you know, or that John, and not for that there'd been Green Lanterns before the Justice League. And if we're moving the Justice League up, maybe then, Hal Jordan was the first Green Lantern Corps member, but then the Justice League forms after John Stewart gets the job, or I don't know.
Yeah, it should have been John Stewart.
Yeah, well, as I understand, because that was the thing I was reading today. Is friend of the show, David Walker. He was actually writing the Cyborg book, and DC just gave him pushback about, no, he's man versus machine. He's not black man versus machine. It's but he's still kind of a black man. That's still who he is.
Exactly, and you could tell what. It's not like he's like Deathlock where you can't tell what race he is.
Yeah. Well, that's because Deathlock's got the zombie stuff going on. Oh, are they still doing a Cyborg movie?
As far as I know, but
yeah. You watch, Marvel's going to do a Deathlock movie, and it's going to make twice the Cyborg movie. you watch, Marvel's just going to say, let's do Deathlock. What the heck? Because they said they want to explore their other characters because they got this huge backlog. And Marvel's like, we're going to make a movie about it because, apparently if we make a good movie, people will buy the stuff.
Hey, look, even Fox, they did a Deadpool movie before Deathstroke got a movie.
And, Deathstroke's not allowed on Arrow anymore.
Oh, I know, because I guess now he's going back to the movies. That's the thing about having separate universes. They're like, well, TV can't have them because we're going to have this character in the movies instead of having one unified universe where it's like, people can come and go as long as you get the actors.
And the thing is, they still have the two Flashes.
Mm-hmm.
So this means we're not going to get a cinematic Green Arrow?
Who knows?
Yeah, honestly, DC's just a mess.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a guy who's in charge of things over there.
No, and like I said, it's 20 separate universes, so it's like...
Yeah, but the thing is you can do 20 separate universes if you commit to it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. You can do it if you commit to it. Okay, and that is, I think I'm going to end our story there because we got to start doing the Capes and Lunatics in a minute. This is supposed to be a half-hour podcast, Phil. Why do you got to yammer so much?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that was all me. The loudmouth schnook, Charlie Esser, the professor. And if you, Phil, do you want to go first? You want to end the show, Phil? I'll let you give your social media last.
No,
because that's the one people will remember.
No, I'll go first. I mean,
okay.
I'm everywhere. It's just if you want to get a hold of me personally, especially if you want to do interviews for any of our shows, it's nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm at nightwingpdp. If you want to send feedback to the Capes and Lunatics, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Our voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. That's good for all our shows. And, we never give love to Superconnectivity. Superconnectivity is on Facebook, Twitter, @SuperConnectPod. So check those out.
I'm not the social media type. That's my problem.
And if someone wants to get a hold of you, Charlie, to start an Alan Moore fan club, where can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can always write to me in the old-fashioned email way, where I'm awesome possible instead at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And follow me on the Twitters @Charlie Esser. ESSER. Look for the two E's in the middle, and that's for the quality. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for connecting with us this week. Please super connect with us again. Good night.
Soul Train. Oh, sorry.
Someone's been texting me. I don't know if it was your. Let's see here. Oh, no. Okay. I'll have to check to see if my friend got an email today. She's
That's
over
right.
at her boyfriend.
YouTube watchers will be back in a few minutes, just a couple minutes with Little Hellfire. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, you should subscribe and follow us on YouTube also.
God, follow us everywhere, man. We're all over the place.
You can be here at the beginning of our domination.